Hi guys, welcome to the Unpopular Opinion. I'm Kemi.
Claire.
Prim.
And we're real.
Raw.
And we're saying it all. First time. Go with the first time.
Your child experiencing speech delay. If you're wondering what speech delay is it's basically when a child is not hitting their speech milestones by a particular age. The good news is that 70 to 80% of children self-resolve and eventually start talking your ear off. However, 20 to 30% of children don't. They will need help, and there is no way of you knowing where your child is going to fall. We have never seen a parent who regretted getting early intervention for their child. However, we've seen so many who have regretted not getting it.
Join the Bluemoon Early Intervention Program, a fun, play-based program designed to help children develop as they should. Worst case scenario is that your child goes to Bluemoon and has the best time of their life while also learning how to speak.
Call Bluemoon International School today and ask about our early intervention program. We can't wait to meet you and your precious little one.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Unpopular Opinion. As always, we are in the amazing Nzou Media Hub. They do our production. They do like the sound that you're hearing on our podcast.
What if they're hearing crickets?
No, it can't be true.
It is that nice, soothing sound.
The way podcasts are supposed to sound. Nzou Media, they provided this amazing space which we now call home. So shout out to you guys. They're all here looking humble. They're not even looking at us when we talk about them. They're all like,
Africans will rather be doing anything because it's like we're bringing them. It's like we're bringing them food.
like,
You know, when they're bringing food in a visit as a visitor,
And then you're
you're
like,
everywhere. That's how Nzou Media people
you don't show how hungry you are.
You're like, guys, thank you so much. And
they're just like, which has reminded me. Oh my God, you guys, have you seen? You guys, Kamala Harris is. She's that babe, like she's that bitch.
Yeah.
There's a governor, I can't remember, Governor Sarah something, who made a comment that how she has kids, so it keeps her humble. She was like, Kamala doesn't have kids, so what keeps her humble? So so in a podcast, like the podcaster asked her about that, like, you heard this comment, what do you think? Kamala Harris is a queen. She's like, a whole lot of women out here aren't aspiring to be humble.
Amen.
And we put it on a TV and then we broadcast
Billboard.
it to the
We are
world.
not aspiring to be humble.
Everyone, and don't get us wrong. Humility is a beautiful trait. Just like when they talk about it for
The way
women,
we
Women,
that's
they
like
want you to
become
just
small.
small.
Yeah.
Become small. Become
it's actually not
tall.
humility. What they want us
Kweto
to be is not humility.
No, it's not. It's kweto waza. I
No,
don't
that's
know
the
what
Luganda word for humility.
Yeah.
But what they want us to be is not that. It's more
Yeah.
like be suppressed.
Be tiny and like in the corner where you
Yeah.
don't.
But that's the thing, that we confuse kweto waza and humility. The
no,
two don't
those
mean
are the
the
two.
same thing. I know we
It's the
use the
same
word.
word.
It's the same word,
Yeah.
but it's actually used in the wrong
wrong context,
Yes.
yes.
Humility should not be kweto waza, because you can find someone big and in a big position, but they're still humble. Does that make sense? Me saying I'm beautiful does not mean I'm not humble. It just means I understand. I know I'm beautiful. I'm
I
not going to be like,
understand
oh my
this,
God,
yeah.
you're telling me news.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm trying to say, that now us as women, we are told to kweto waza in terms of make sure you are not knowing your strength.
Yeah, don't know your strength, yes.
Don't know your strengths and
Don't know
allow
how good you
people
are.
to highlight your strengths
Yeah.
for you.
While you keep
You
pushing
get
around.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, I didn't know.
What do you mean? Recently, I was somewhere and this guy came and said, hi, you're beautiful. I was like, I know. And he was so shocked. I didn't say
Offended.
thank you.
Yeah.
He was so shocked. He's like, you
Offended.
know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you think I don't have a mirror?
Yeah.
You think you're telling I've reached this age and I don't know I'm beautiful? You're the first person?
Like surprise on surprise.
Like, he was actually genuinely confused, because the normal thing is like, oh, thank
my
you
God,
so
are you
much.
sure?
You're so kind. What do you mean you're so kind? Did you give me that beauty?
Woo!
Do you get what I mean?
Come
What did you give me that beauty?
That's the
there's
sound
some-
bite that you can pick.
This
This is the
Oh
sound
my God,
bite.
this is the soundbite we are extracting. Yeah. Today we are going to talk
Well,
about.
I mean, I can say you're so kind. Yes, there's sometimes when it's a kindness, out of kindness, but this
Yeah.
guy clearly wanted. It's like the way he was so surprised and offended that I knew I'm beautiful. Clearly, he was not
Fishing.
complimenting. He was just
Fishing.
Yes.
Fishing.
Do you get what I
though,
mean?
He has
Yeah.
probably never had that answer. That's why he was shocked.
No, he was shocked in a. What kind of person are you?
Uh-huh.
It was not in
Why
a
don't you
wow, I
need
love your
these
confidence.
compliments? Yeah.
You get it was not in a wow, I like your confidence kind of thing. It was more like, what do you mean you're beautiful? You get, that those people you say you're beautiful and then they say I know and they say you're not beautiful even. I felt like he was
take
just
it back.
about
Yeah,
to
they take
abuse
it back.
me. Yes,
Unbeautiful you. Unbeautiful you.
you get that need, and it makes very many people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even women, by the way. Like, for example, me, I'm a plus size woman. Excuse me, I am beautiful. Do you know I walk in rooms, I am the most beautiful person I know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying
But
everyone
it's like,
is not
how
beautiful.
dare you?
How dare you
own
be
it?
fat?
The audacity.
How dare you
And
own
also
it?
confident, and you're beautiful.
How dare you
we
own
should be
it?
giving you
Yeah.
that
Allow us to
platform.
place you on that,
Exactly.
on that
So, and it
pedestal.
makes me very many, even women,
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Anyway, so
So-
I don't know how we diverted there.
I know.
But
imagine.
I feel like it's in line.
This is just
Yes,
us catching up.
it's in-
Yes.
I feel like it's in line because we're going to
Yeah.
talk about the workplace.
Yeah. The dance at the workplace.
Yeah, like that that back and forth of
Yeah.
like you work with people, so of course, there's a relationship of some kind. How personal is it? Is it too close? And not just dating, even with friendships in the workplace, like that person that becomes like as if you work bestie, but like how close are you? What's like the place? Where do we draw the line? Is there a line? That's what we're going to talk about. So I'm literally going to go like in a questions format and you guys can share. So first of all, what are the good things of creating like close relationship? If you think actually, first of all, do you think it's a good idea? Let's start actually. Do you think it's a good idea to make like close friendships in the workplace?
So there's a story I want to first. The reason I chose this topic, I was listening to a reel that like HR managers. There's a lady who shares about workspaces and the kind of content. And I was listening to something she said. She talked about a story of a worker. And this is a story, she said it's from, I think, like 2009, and it's just come back recently, and it's taking a lot of, like, people are talking about it, right? So a worker donated a kidney to her boss, who later fired her for taking long to recover. Actually, when I was watching it, that's when I wrote down the topic and the breakdown, and I was like, this is something we need to talk about because a lot of us do things for our bosses. For us, we do these things with expectations.
Yeah.
But we don't communicate that we have expectations.
Yeah.
And then, so the lady, her boss, was in line for a kidney transplant. So anyway, this she talked about, she told her that she has a kidney problem. So this one's like, I could actually donate. She's like, okay. So this one is like, I'll take you up on that offer. So anyway, this one moves to another place. Was it something like Long Island or left Florida or whatever? And then one day she comes back and asks this one for a job. She hires her. So one day she calls and she's like, oh, by the way, that offer of the kidney, is it still on the table? She's like, I don't see why not. So she donated a kidney to someone. She was a match to someone who she donated, let's say now donated to Claire, but giving Claire pushes this one up. You get like from the bottom of the list of donating, you get because now they're like, okay, the kidneys that's supposed to go to Claire has gone to to so and so has gone to Claire, but now
So it
There's
bumps.
a-
it bumps.
there's a
Yes.
space.
So she got a kidney, but while they were operating on her, there was the surgeon hit like something, and there was complications.
Yeah.
This one gets her kidney.
She gets
Recuperates, comes back to work,
And the other one's fighting
and the
for
other
her
one is
life.
fighting for her life, and she fires her for taking long to get better.
Oh.
So that's the story that I wanted us to go in with, because a lot of people, and this lady who was talking about it goes ahead to say that this is what I want you to learn: workplaces are not spaces for relationships and friendships. Do not foster relationships and friendships. But there's another school of thought that will be like, no, some people have met their bestest friends, or they've met the best human beings in workplaces. But also you can see where she's coming from.
You can.
She's talking about everyday things. So for us, it might not be a kidney. It could be something else.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people who pick their boss's kids from work. because your boss is too busy, you're the one who, you're an intern and you keep running errands for your boss, picking their kids and stuff. And one day they advertise the same position you're interning in rather than hire you. They advertise it and hire someone else, and you remain an intern.
Yeah.
But did you communicate
That you would like
that
that
the reason
job?
I've been picking up your kids is so that I can get into your good graces, and when the position ever opens up,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. So now let's go back to your question.
Would you?
Would you
Like, just like, what is, would you make, those close, or have you, I guess, is it a good idea? Do you feel like it's a good idea to make those personal friendships in the workplace?
I will sit here and tell you that I've met good people at work. I mean, Fiona, you and I met at work, and here we are. I've also met like a couple of other people that I actually have fostered good work relationships with. Not to say that I haven't been burned by like a few.
Yeah.
There's been like one that was like a significant burn that I said to fear this person. And later we got past this, but I know our relationship will never be the same. I fear them.
Yeah.
I fear because I've seen how low they can go to hurt you if you're not their friend anymore.
Yeah.
I can see, I've seen, and oh my God. So I fear them. But I also know that there are some relationships, good work relationships, that are born out of working under the same dictator.
And you bond over the dictator. The dictatorship.
Yes.
I get that. Personally, I am big on boundaries, relational boundaries. I'm so big on boundaries. And I fail to see how now, notwithstanding, because we are workmates, that we are also friends. But also, have you noticed that what has kept us going is boundaries? You get, when it's work, it's work. When it's friends,
it's friends.
we are friends.
Yes.
And that has kind of helped us even navigate the difficult things that we've gone through, and so until someone is mature enough to, one, respect boundaries, two, also them set their own boundaries, because boundaries that don't work if they're just one-sided.
No.
It has to be both ways.
Yeah.
And I've realized my sister is my sister for a reason. My friends are my friends for a reason. My workmates are my workmates for a reason. You get, now this started as a friendship and it turned into a work, but that's also for a reason. Does that make sense? Now for me, I'm an employer. I draw that boundary 100%. And there's a time I didn't, by the way. And it was difficult to reverse.
What did it look like?
Oh my God. So we hired a couple of, I've always been one of those people where that I'd prefer if I started a place that everyone is friendly, and because that's how I started out in my very first job. We were all friends. You couldn't tell who's who, but everyone would do their jobs. But I find Ugandans are not very good with boundary. If it's not clear set that I'm your boss,
we'll abuse it.
Yes,
we'll abuse
it. People abuse it.
Yeah.
We're not. I don't understand why specifically as Ugandan women,
even in
especially
our homes,
in our homes. If you're not, if you become friendly, it's abused.
Yes.
If you're not tough.
Yes.
It's abused.
Yes.
So then, because obviously as a business owner, we have targets.
Yeah.
I own a school, so you have to have your lesson plans. We don't do lesson plans the way normal Ugandan schools do their lesson plans, but you have to have them done anyway. You have to have your lessons prepared. On Monday, we are preparing for next week Monday's thingy. So you need to make sure that you're shopping for the materials you require are in by this week, so that we can do shopping by Friday, so that you have everything ready. You'd find teachers coming and they are not ready for their lessons. You get, or you'd find teachers getting too sick too often, or getting, because we are friends, or when we're having a conversation in the office, they, it's just they stay too long in the office, which makes it awkward for me to say, can you go and work?
Yeah. You're wondering,
makes it
why are
very
you here
awkward.
with me?
I mean, we can talk for 5 minutes, but it's not, don't just come into my office every day, all day. Do you know what I mean? That's what used to happen in the beginning, until I learned how to draw. Actually, my first workers, a couple of them were my friends, and then it just makes it awkward.
And
like
it
you
shocks them when you
changed.
now change.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like you changed. I was like, no, I didn't change. You violated. You violated the relationship. I was
Yeah.
friendly, but I still expect you to do A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
You know, and because I know it's hard to mix relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard to mix relationships.
Yeah.
You have to be now. How do you switch from friend to boss? And when? When do you switch it on? Or Prim or Fiona, what if, because Fiona, right now you are our superior. You know,
Yeah.
we are in karma. You are our superior. So when is it, Claire? I need A, B, C, and D.
Yes. Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It's
If we didn't
hard.
have the boundaries, because there's a place at which I know you're no longer my friend that I cry to at 3 a.m. You're now my boss who
boss,
requires a specific task to be done by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
regardless of what's going on
I
in
feel
my
like
life.
it's a hack that we've actually been going through. It's
Yeah.
one of the things we went through.
Yeah.
Like when, like at what point did we, it's one of the things we've had to navigate,
Yes.
at least in this past like
Yeah.
1 or
1
2
year.
months.
Yeah.
This, of like, but now how do we tell her that Otumenya?
Yeah.
How do we
how
tell her that
how does
Otumenya?
one know?
How-
We kindly, without
Yes.
you get, how do we now, okay,
It's harder.
it is.
It's harder
It's
in
harder.
the work dynamic
so
that we have.
mixing relationships, and you have to all be mature enough
To be able to take
understand
it.
that at 3 o'clock I was da in the night, and I called Prim, and she talked to me, and we talked for 2 hours. But at 8 o'clock, that same Prim is going to call me and say,
be like,
Claire,
I
I
need
need you to
this and
send
that.
with me
Yeah.
A, B, C, and D, regardless of the fact that I didn't sleep at night because
Yeah.
I was talking
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going through in
Yeah.
my life, but you
Yeah.
still expect me to deliver A, B, C, and D by 8 o'clock. Blurring those lines. Fortunately, we have somehow navigated it.
Yes,
You
thank
get,
God.
we've gotten,
Yes.
we've had a bit of a time, but we've
Yes.
navigated
Yeah.
it. And now that we have, we can.
You can see
we've
how
grown.
everything is moving.
Even exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't believe in blurring
The lines.
lines between relationships.
Yeah.
If you are
A
my
workmate,
workmate, you are my workmate.
workmate.
I will be friendly. I will, and there are people by that I'm very, I can be
Yeah.
very friendly, and some people mix. Well, take that and think that we are such good friends. When for me, if it's I've drawn a boundary, I've drawn
Yeah.
a boundary, and that's
I've
it.
had a thing like that where like a friend of mine was joining us, and I was just like, I hope she's not on my team.
Yeah.
I hope she's not on my team. And I'm glad she didn't end up on my team, because now I'm able to consult her as someone who is seeing things from here, and she's seeing me up here, and she's like, oh, this is when you guys do this, it makes us feel this way. She gives me such great advice, and I'm like, she's like, she'll be like, she'll be like, sis, don't do this and that. Like she's looking at me as, okay, as admin, you guys do this and that. She helps me see things from an unbiased view, because I am not directly supervising her. So she'll put me in line. But then I was grateful that I didn't get to supervise her, because I know her personal life. You understand? I would have to understand the time she can't come in, because last night she'll have told me, oh, one of the kids is not doing well.
Yeah.
And then I have to be like, sis, I know the kids are not doing well, but it's been 2 weeks. You get
Awkward,
I feel like it would
right?
have really strained our
Yeah,
relationship. But
yeah.
I've seen it with like another friend of mine, and I've seen how a couple of times that friend of mine will they've had a bit of a time knowing when I am now telling them as this and that. Like the times she has known when I'm telling her now that, oh, do this and that, and I'm telling you as your supervisor now.
Yeah.
And then now we let us talk about personal
about
lives of how are the
friends, as
kids.
we are friends,
Yeah, because
yes.
I'm almost literally like, your kids are my kids. Like I've
Yeah.
seen you and I've seen them, right?
Yeah.
So there are times that they'll say something and I'll be like, did you just say that to me in this setting? Did you just say that to me in this setting? And I feel like I'm offended, but then I'm just like, I know that line, it's easy for that line too. Yeah.
So I don't know how do you draw the boundaries? I think that's what now I'm thinking, because we've clearly all experienced like different versions. I mean, even for me, I've been in a workplace and had friends, and then I've also been in workplaces where I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be friends with anyone. Let's just be good morning. How are you? I've helped you with this.
Yeah.
This was the to-do list. So I get it. Like I get both sides, but how do you draw your boundaries? Like in your different places?
Fiona, first of all, it is important that we draw those boundaries.
Auntie, how?
It's important. Communication. communication.
Yes, the hard part.
This morning, I was sharing on my stories and saying that in every relationship, silence is the enemy. It's us against silence. That's who the enemy is. The lack of communication, that's who the enemy is. We are not each other's enemy. It's the uncommunicated feelings and uncommunicated words are what the problem is. Because I will be feeling a certain way, like, oh, this is how you, let's say you see how you placed your hand, it will make me feel a certain way. And I will not communicate that. But for you, you'll be saying, why didn't she say something? You know, when I talked to her today, she kept quiet. So silence. So when you communicate with someone, when you say that, oh, this and that, the way you address this, I don't like that you come in late at work, or yes, fine, we were working together last night. Because there are people who drink with their bosses. You drink with your boss in the evening
But
because
you're
it's a work
expected to be
party,
at work-
and then
at
tomorrow
work
you'll
on-
be pissed, like as in, you saw us leaving home you saw us leaving the bar at 10
Yeah.
p.m. But your boss is just like, even me, I'm
Even
here.
me, I'm here.
Yeah.
Even
So
me, I
what do you
came
mean?
early. So what do you mean? You get?
Yeah.
Because now that's where the problem is. So for me, my point will have to be communication. Yeah.
I feel like even the word communication is the older I get, I feel like it's so loaded.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say let's communicate, but even the person you're communicating with has to be, I think, mature to receive certain
Yeah.
things in a certain way.
Yeah.
And needs to be able to also separate the way you're separating when you're telling them that. It has to be a two-way street. Because Prim can communicate to me, and me, I'm not understanding, and the thing works
That means
out.
they're not communicating, they're actually
It's
just
like,
talking.
oh, true, actually.
I've read a statement that people say communication is the key, but communication is not the key. Comprehension is
Someone
the key.
needs to understand, comprehend what you're communicating.
Yes, yes.
If otherwise you're just talking, you know. And I realized that was because now I am a boss. I find, okay, I suppose I am a boss, but even on this team, I am a co-director, but also
An employee.
An employee, yes, but then we're not specific. We're directors, but then we are under. You get in your department, Prim, I am under you.
Yeah.
In my department, I am under me, and you are under me, and so Fiona can't come and dictate my department, although she is actually being the CEO, she is my superior, and vice versa. Does that make sense? So I think also having those structures and knowing structures is very important. And I found that the reason why a lot of these things weren't happening in my business was because the structures were not very clear. So if you are, for example, sick more than one day, because teachers get a lot of holidays. Teachers get almost half the year of holidays. You get, so we don't get leave. Within that term, you can get one sick day that you don't have to explain. You can just, that day you can just call in and say, I cannot come, and they will not ask for an explanation. Other than that, your salary is taken off. Because remember, when you're off in December, the entire month, I still pay. When you're off in the summer for 2 months, I still pay. Does that make sense? So as opposed to normal, now for me, that's how I figure out that to make it clear that if you do not come, you have, this is the penalty. And I will stick to that
There's
penalty.
consequences.
Yes.
Okay.
I've also I'm friendly, but we're not friends. That's
Not
very
like that.
clear. No.
Yeah.
We are friendly, so there's a clear definition of, and I've learned also how to communicate. I am no longer afraid of saying, I don't like this. You did this and I did not like it. Kindly do better. But I'm also not beyond firing. Yeah.
I feel like there's
a process, like a
Structure.
A structure. If I've talked to you 3 times, what do you mean I'm talking to you the 4th? Clearly, you do not respect me. You can go somewhere else where you find somewhere else to respect, you know?
Yeah. Have you also, like, I was not just thinking about back when I was in like proper formal employment, and I don't say it's a Ugandan thing, probably people experience it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know how you kind of have to have an in-betweensy where we are kind of like friends at work, but actually not really. Because I reached a point where I was just, good morning, let's do work, good night. But you could see people like want like, how come you don't come and sit with us in the common areas? How come, that's a way that that people want to, I don't know, I have sort of and I get it, It's just also how do you
These
win?
areas.
Sometimes you don't. I don't know. It's like it's kind of like you get confused sometimes. You're
you
like, I'm
too.
trying to keep a professional boundary.
Yes.
But then people are like, but no, come and sit with us and we talk about things of life.
That illusion of we're a family is what makes people offload.
Yeah.
And that's something I think
And
we
it's
had.
very
We
dangerous.
wanted to talk about. Yes. One day you go to HR and tell her, your problems with your husband, so that, I'm asking for like some clearance this week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then next time you go back and be like, do you know now he did this and that? But you see, there's also a bit of a lack of professionalism in our spaces with our administrators. You'll find that HR discussing you with someone amongst you who is actually their friend.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Who is their friend? They
Yeah.
consider them their friend and they're telling them your business.
Yeah.
We've had, I know that this is something a lot of people in the comments are going to actually, would like to hear from them, but I know a lot of people in workplaces have experienced it where the HR goes and spills people's
Their
information.
things.
It's against, I think, their code of
Yeah, of
conduct,
course,
but they
it
do
happens,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
some,
we don't
I'm not
respect
saying all
people's
of them,
privacy
but yes.
generally as a culture.
Yes.
We
yes.
don't respect privacy.
That illusion of we are all family
Yeah.
is the one that will have people saying, oh guys, it's my son's baptism. And they're inviting colleagues, okay? And then the colleagues are coming back and saying, oh my God, did you see so-and-so's house? They're reporting you to your boss that the house is nice, and next thing you know, you don't have a job.
Yeah,
They're
just
firing
explain
you.
your house.
Yeah, explain your house, they're firing you. We've seen these things, it's not a new story. We've seen these things.
No, it's
Where people are
true.
just like, did you see this and that? Then others are just like, you're just showing off from here, but you live in such and such a dilapidated house or whatever.
Yeah.
So that illusion that we're a family, and it takes us back to what that lady said. They're not your friends.
Yeah.
Of men there is going to the table where you meet is there'll be just one disagreement and you all be now required to take sides, and people are going to have like an awkward
Because
time
you've been hanging out
navigating.
together.
Yes,
You have
navigating
blurred
that time.
the line.
Yes, people will just feel like, no, we are divided. Whose side do we take?
Yeah.
Who do we? You see how you're breaking
Yeah.
a team. You see,
Yeah.
and yet everyone could just come and talk about the weather.
Yeah.
Just come and stick it to the weather, complain about the government and the state of roads and the traffic jam.
And
but
move
like, yeah,
on.
if you get personal, people you tend to use these things and take advantage of
they
you.
do.
There's a promotion. Someone goes to the HR. They're against you. And
they
someone
know
was like,
personal stuff about
thank you.
you.
They'll be like, but Prim is just a single mom. Do you think she'll be here for
She's
this
struggling
job
at home,
every
she
day?
told
She's struggling.
me.
She won't be here every day. The HR is right. You're right. You're the better candidate. They choose you over that person. And someone was like, oh, people are evil. What? No, it's Darwinism.
Yeah.
It's Darwinism.
Yeah. You
That
gave them
you-
the quite literally, you gave them the weapon
Yes.
against
the
you.
weapon. Yes.
You're the one who handed it
Yeah.
to them without building trust,
Yes.
without building anything.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. A lot of people are very immature emotionally.
Yeah.
And you can tell a difference between a team that is led by an emotionally mature person. The rest don't have to be emotionally mature. But if the person on top, the leader, for example, an HR, should be emotionally mature, because people should be able to trust her with information. Do you understand? You should not. And it comes from the top, by the way. Doesn't matter how emotionally mature you are at the bottom. And usually what happens is, if people are emotionally mature, they see the drama and they're like, no, I'm not sitting
I'm
with
not
you
doing
people.
this, yeah.
And that's now where all these immature people come in and say, yeah,
She thinks she's
all
better
these
than
things,
us.
she thinks she's better, but this person just doesn't want to be in your
just don't want
drama.
to be, yeah.
Because we are in a workplace, we are not in a high school.
Yeah.
You get, and for me,
And we
that's
also
where,
don't really have to all be friends.
yeah.
So we don't. I think being a team and being a family is two different things.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
the problem. And maybe if there's something that I hope we all continue to take from this conversation, but I'm sure you've also had other people talking about this, is like how important it is to keep on getting training to improve whatever it is that you do. Because leadership, you guys, is such a complex
My
thing.
It
It has so
really
many
is.
tentacles and
Yes.
and it's so complex you have to keep learning.
Yeah.
You have,
You
whether
have
you're
to
the
keep
leader of a
learning.
home, or the leader of a
Yes.
business,
Doesn't matter,
or the
yes.
leader of I don't know what. It's so
Yes.
complex.
Even you
There's
lead
so many
yourself.
tools.
You lead yourself.
Self-leadership
You
actually
are the
is
first leader.
it's the first module.
Yes, it's the first
Self-leadership
module.
before you lead others. There's so much to learn because getting people to that place of being a team that is together, that works together. But is not destroying each other, but is then complex.
Something I've learned, you know how women, especially Ugandan women, I don't know if it's African women, you tell her something and she's like, you guys, in my workplace, let me see someone doing like this.
Or doing the unspoken
Yes,
gestures.
You get it? That communicates emotional immaturity. Kindly
Does.
grow up.
But you know,
even if it's
I
not...
disagree as much as it does. Most times I'm always just like, I won't let you bring me down to that level.
If I ask you to do something, you don't go slowly like this.
Drag.
No. Unless go somewhere else, that's where they're allowed. Not here. If I ask you to do something, I've been polite, I've said please. Yet, it's your job to do it. Kindly just do it.
I know, you're laying down the law, right?
That's just the boundaries.
Most
I'm sorry,
times,
you do not roll your eyes at anyone. You know, you get it. And a lot of times when, like, especially women work together, I find there can be a lot of,
Clear.
not in my space. Us as women, we need to champion. I am so big at women, by the way, growing and championing themselves. You get that if, for example, Fiona, you came and told me, I'm not going to go to Fiona and Prim and tell her, do you understand? You know what, Fiona? I tell you what, I'm not going to do that because maturity, even if I don't like what you've told me, by the way, I'm not going to bicker about it. I'm not going to roll my eyes around it. You are my superior. I am going to do it. Does that make sense? And that's now where the maturity comes from. You don't need to like it. You're not paid to like what you do. You're paid to do what you do.
Must be
It's
nice
simple.
to run a private entity. You know,
I can't imagine what public service is like.
Doesn't work like that.
We have been to some public service. These people are rude, immature,
doesn't work like
and someone
that.
comes and tells me, "What are you here for?"
And what will you? And someone is, there's that whole, what will you do? They are permanent
nothing you
and
can do,
pensionable. What will you do?
I
Because you
hate
see, there's
going to
consequences to this.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, this person fears to be fired. Public servants are not
Don't
fired.
fear, yeah.
They don't fear to be fired.
They're so rude.
Did you think it just still goes back to leadership? Because if there are places in the world where you can go to a government office and you're spoken to with respect or whatever. I think all these things trickle down from somewhere.
Yeah.
How are also them? How are they being treated? Or what incentives do they have to do their jobs?
Yes.
How
are they being treated? That's bringing that anger.
Yeah, being in civil service, you can see the things that make people frustrated and they trickle down.
They trickle down to the people they serve.
It's not an excuse of what you should be able to do your job well.
But you understand
it's just
why
that
it's happening.
you know what's influencing the next one and the one that and then by the time guys are making noise, man, the thing
there's a saying here. There's a saying that there's no bad soldier, there's only a bad commander.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth,
leadership is important.
That thing you're talking about, I think, there was a census, and you've seen that there's chaos around the statistics. They gave us wrong statistics and the head, I think, of the head of statistics, he just comes out and says, for me, I'll not be faulted for some people not doing their job. And he's actually something like, good luck finding a better statistician and stuff like that. And I remember
the arrogance.
I've been listening to it on the radio on my way here, and it's like, the arrogance.
The
arrogance, like, what? You're saying this to the Ugandan people?
You are at the top. When your team fails, you have failed.
Thank you. Most of the people that we find in offices that are angry, and I'll speak for people complaining about, let's say, government offices. Most of them are disgruntled. They are disgruntled, and it's just that they cannot take this up on their bosses. They can't push this.
So they put it down on you.
They're pushing it on you. Yeah. But they are coming from a place of frustration and stifled. They are making decisions, and there's a phone call saying no, don't now do that. They are being told this is what's supposed to be done,
and then tomorrow
the welfare.
Changed.
Yes. But I feel like what you say, what is expected of a worker, the reason it thrives in private entities is because the compensation is also good.
Better.
The compensation is better.
Their incentives.
Their incentives, exactly. They are being taken to study. They are being, they're being taken in other places to see and improve and stuff like that. So one thing I know is that for us to improve our workplaces, like Fiona said, it takes also the leadership. It takes the leadership to be able to recognize these small things. And that's why I personally decided that I don't want to be the kind of leader that is just like do it. You get, like, because the truth is, I don't want to squeeze water from a rock. I want to be able to, I want to have conversations with people. I want to have open channels of communication. Like, yes, look, while I see that things are not good, we are working under these circumstances and conditions. But how can we, what are you able to bring? What can so and so bring? And then maybe at the end of the day, we see how to balance it out, how to navigate. Yes.
I get it.
Okay.
Anyway, it's tricky. But for me, I personally do not advise work friendships, especially if you're both not good with boundaries.
The thing is, if you're not both good, do you know? So that means that you're also blind, following the blind.
I think people know if they are not good with boundaries.
No, they don't.
Do they, Claire? You're
No, they
assuming that
don't.
everyone is self-aware.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, man, if you're not able to, like...
I mean, a lot of people get burned before they realize.
Yeah,
if you're not
and this is the thing that people do.
leading
They keep
yourself.
pushing that boundary.
Yeah.
When you push this, and someone's just like, let me see what her reaction is.
They
Nothing.
make it pushing.
Push it.
Yeah, like,
Push
how far
further.
can I go?
How far can I go? Yeah, but we all push boundaries every day in one way or another.
Yeah,
No
we
matter
do.
how self-aware you are.
Yeah.
You just wake up one day, there's that one you cross and you're like, how didn't I even see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other item I see here under this topic is office politics and gossip and navigating it, because it's inevitable.
Yeah.
There's no office you'll be in that there'll not be something over.
Yeah.
And I feel
I'd
like
to pride myself with the fact that it's not there in mine.
well, that's an achievement.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
You're
but
probably
also
not aware of it.
So if it's there, it's done at a level where it hasn't yet affected the work.
I think that's why for me one of even my like reflexes was to just withdraw from little communities of people in our workplace, because it was such a ripe area for gossip.
Gossip, yeah.
No matter what happens, somehow
Someone will start a chivozi.
this one's wife and then
Yeah.
and I find
Be
gossip
like, why do I
very,
know this information?
very scattering in the brain. Like me, it scatters me. It makes my brain get like cluttered. I don't understand. Like there's so many things there are things that are important to me, but the content you're feeding me at that time is coming and mixing. I don't know, you've mixed over porridge over in my what? You put quencher, you've mixed porridge, I don't know what's going on. So it's just like, but it's inevitable also. And I feel like it's hard to win when you withdraw. People are like, that one you can't even jazz. And it's like as if you're standoffish. And then when you engage, it's also not a good thing, because then what? Then now we are the office gossips. Yay. It's a happy time.
But there are so
it's
many people
a
that are proud of that though. Like, and people are just like, oh, it's a tawadi chimpita ko.
Yeah, of like me.
Listen, I do not know why people are proud of these things.
Like I'm the gatekeeper of gossip.
I don't know why people are proud of this.
And that's why you be in the quarrel someone at work. People are like, "Nzabachi manyi tebamanyi."
Me.
And you are thinking that, like, you guys, by the way, like me, I feel like that's just taking pride in bad manners.
Nonsense.
Yes. But have you noticed that this is a generation that takes pride in bad manners?
Someone's just like, someone will come and tell you, me, I abused so and so. I abused them.
I tell you,
and
people who abuse other
I'm
people.
like-
Sikubala mune tondo lya magezi. Like,
And I'm
what do you mean you abused and you're there proud? Nzenja vuma.
As if
Yes,
it's nice.
people are just like very proud of these things. And I'm like,
It is the lowest of lowest.
Lowest.
Chabu copy nyo 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 okuvuma
Claire's
abantu.
even saying it in Luganda.
Chabu copy. It is the lowest. Like,
Poor
why
manners.
are you proud of the fact that you abuse people? I see people on TikTok.
I feel like they,
Nzenja kuvuma. Oh my God. Like,
You're
for me,
appalled.
immediately block. Immediately block. When I come to you and they talk, but now they can abuse.
such people are,
And they can abuse, and it is.
They've
So how do you
never
be
not
proud?
seen.
Like, for you, you're talented at abusing people.
They don't know better. I don't know. I don't think they know better.
Well, hopefully they
like
can
people,
learn
I see
better.
how like,
Chabu copy
someone
you.
can be like that, and in a workplace, everyone is just, who's
Go-
who's this? They're like, oh my God, it's for so and so.
They'll abuse you.
They're like, yeah, but for you, you're like, you in your mind, because such people feel like, yeah,
They
Nzeba
fear
Antia.
me,
Yes,
but
they
actually
fear me.
they don't
But
fear
no,
you.
Bakweganya.
Yeah,
The word is
it's,
tebakutia,
yes,
bakweganya. It's
yes.
just, everyone is just like, if it's so and so, I like, it's,
Yeah.
I rather not.
It's
I
like
rather not.
it's like not wanting to touch a
Yeah,
diseased
like-
person.
Yes,
Have
it's
you
like a
That's
bad
what
place
it
to be.
is. You think that people fear and respect you so much. No, they don't.
They just don't want to pick up the
don't
virus.
want to be anywhere near your bukopi.
Claire is like that dowager in Pinky. She's just like that dowager of
What is
Like I can't. You guys,
Downton Abbey.
I see people on TikTok all the time abusing, and there's like a match. Me, by the way, don't mess with me. Da 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 da.
like as if it's nice. Huh?
yes.
It's not
Because
nice.
these things are not nice. They're not nice.
And
You shouldn't
for
be
me,
that
as
person.
soon as TikTok needs to know not to bring me this content, I do not want to be anywhere near it, so I block.
Train your algorithm.
I trained my algorithm. It don't bring them anymore. Every now and then it tries.
Have you ever worked in those places where there's like a boss who can make you cry? Who makes people cry?
Ooh,
Ever
those
watched
are
this
so
happen?
many. Those are so many. I don't think.
Those bosses who talk to you and you cry.
No. Like their words hurt.
As in,
They
not
pierce.
only are the
They're
words
just
bad, even them they are mean.
Yeah.
Like mean boss. I still remember up to now, because she was an older lady, and she was I don't remember. They were speaking now about someone now who was even in a different generation
Yeah.
from them, older than them, and she was saying, "Oh, I remember that woman. She was the boss at my workplace. She's like, I'll never forget the day she made me cry, and I was not the only one." And I was like, imagine that's your legacy as a leader, making people cry. But for you in the workplace,
That's
as a leader who
what
makes
you
people
are.
cry, like
Yeah.
Terrible.
You
like
break
what
down
an environment.
spirits.
You
To create.
as in for you, that's your legacy. They're the woman, the one who used to make people cry. Of like even you don't want to cross her and people. And I imagine that type of leader thinks that
This
Yes,
is
they
me.
fear me. Yes. Yeah.
I'd like
behind you.
I'd like to be known as the leader who serves, who serves, like who, yes, you expect stuff to be done, but you also want to treat people with respect, because
Yeah.
respect is earned, by the way.
That's
It
true.
is not given freely.
I've noticed that people yield to that. Though.
Yes, because
People
I
yield to
remember
that.
recently I had to apologize to one of my employees for saying something I realized later that I shouldn't have said to her. It must have hurt her feelings. I probably should have found a way, a better way to say it,
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people might be like, "Oh my God, how do you apologize to us, an employee?" But that, I feel that that's what gets what gets respect. Because I remember someone recently, actually a couple of people have recently messaged me who work with people that used to work for me, and they apparently people go and rave my praises. You get praises for working for me and under me, because I think of that kindness. That kindness
People
and respect.
yield to that.
And actually, it takes long for someone to leave working with me, for even if you're offering them a better salary, because people have tasted much worse. And that's the kind of leader I want to be. The salary scale is not the best. I mean, we are teachers, it's not the best. But for a fact, your day is not going to be stressful.
Yeah.
You get. I will not
I
treat
agree.
like you're
People like
treated like a person who has a heart
I agree.
and who is cared about. Yeah.
I agree. That's the kind of leader I want to be. Like before, you know how people just like after school you just go and do a master's. Now is when I realize what kind of master's I want to do. Now is when I
After
realize
years, 10 years after your degree.
and I really want to do like humane like leadership. Like like even with my team, like I keep telling them, guys, I just want communication from you. Each time there's a meeting, I speak about respect. I'm like, respect is very diverse. Respect people's property, respect yourself, respect others. Do not shout at your colleagues. Do not.
Sorry, you said respect people's property, and I remembered when they drank your soy milk.
Soy milk.
Respect.
She had soy milk at the work. Whatever. Someone took
People
us.
come open the fridge and take out whatever they want.
I'm like,
You
respect.
guys went on the group and said, guys, I don't know who drank my soy milk. That soy milk.
I said soy milk is expensive.
I remember me in my shift,
I was
someone
there,
saw it and they were like, your friend is talking about soya milk. What's soya milk? What?
And you see, that was me not starting my everyday different diets. But anyway, I keep talking about like respect one another. Like let us never be here reduced to a point of exchanging like openly and then saying you're like this, you're like that. Like let us find ways to communicate. And it's something that I didn't have before, but it's something that now I'm so intentional about nurturing. I'm doing so many courses to learn how to nurture and communicate work relationships. I would like to be able to, like for me, I even like someone who comes to me and says, you know what, I need a day off. And without a lie, like you don't even tell me my child is sick or anything. You just tell me, I'm fatigued and I need a day off. Trust me. I'm going to work everything around possible to make sure that you get, in fact, like 4 days. 4 days where you go and rest, and I want to see you when you're back and be like, are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Because I know that your productivity is going to increase when you're feeling better, when your home is finally, you know, like together.
But also that takes a mature person, because there are people who take advantage.
They will abuse that.
Yes.
That's the thing, by the way. A lot of people will abuse.
It's a constant.
Yeah. And you
It's a
need to be
constant, now
able
what do I
to
do?
understand.
Yeah.
Which you put the rules there to make sure that these things are adhered to. Yes, I can give you a little bit more than you ask for, and yes, I can give you. However, it's not every day.
And also people
Yeah,
are
let other
different.
people so take another car.
Because you can't also, you know, even another challenge is that people, you're leading people who are so different. There are people who are going to treat, you know, your, maybe like your ability to see them, to just give them grace.
Empathy.
They'll treat it like, oh, wow, this is actually, this person is trusting me with this. No, some people will treat it like, oh, they're trusting me with this, I should give the same commitment. The other person will be like, hey,
Let me run with it.
See what I can do.
Yes.
My boss, she won't do anything. Those ones.
Yes.
Of course she'll say
yes. They will assume that it's weakness.
And
they
it's
will
up
assume.
to you as now the leader to differentiate them.
To now check them and be like,
to know when to put your foot down very strongly.
Yes.
To know when to, you guys, leaders.
Especially leadership for women. We don't, we don't get the same, we don't get accorded the same
respect men do.
Yes, the same
For them it's like off the
grace
bat.
of like, let's give her a chance to learn. Let's give her a chance. Most times I'm always just telling myself, like my teammates, I'm always like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. These people have allowed me to intern on them. Like, do they see that I'm doing internship? That they've allowed me to fail and also learn and pick myself up with them. Because let me tell you, I've done a lot of failing. I think I've been doing what now, 2-3 years, and I've failed.
But that's
now
where
is when
you
I'm
grow
finally
from.
growing. Now is when I'm actually being able to say that, oh, this happened with so and so. I handled it like this, proud. Like I even go back in my book and notice. But like, I feel like it's difficult, like, because I mean, you're leading human beings, you're leading adults, they have their own beliefs and systems and everything. Even you're coming from a whole different, but then as women, people just fall for a man. They'll be like, Munange Bambi, he's like that. He's just very calm. He's very, then the woman, they'll be like, she's angry. She's angry. She doesn't know what she's doing.
You know how they say people, you need to get some, like, you get
twice. Yeah, she needs to have sex.
Loosen up. She needs to loosen up. Someone go
that
and...
shit pisses me off.
Yeah, like
it really pisses me off. Like women are allowed to have feelings and express them. Oh,
you're not a mom. You don't understand.
Yeah.
You're not married. What do you know? But yeah. But as a leader, you have to take on different, let's say different, how do I say? You have to assume the married person and what they go through. You have to assume motherhood.
The non-married one, the single mother.
You have to accommodate all situations or personalities
and try to understand,
learn them and become them, and then as if understand, and then now come and start meeting these people one by one. But unfortunately, it's not grace that women easily get. It's not grace that women get.
Anyway, man, I know we've gone into now leadership itself, but I think it all comes together. So we'd be happy to also hear you guys' thoughts on just how you guys are navigating workplaces, and like, is it a yes or no for you? Do you want to have personal relationships in the workplace, or for you is it like absolutely not? Good morning, what's our work? Take care. I don't need to see you at my wedding.
Weddings can cause problems for workmates.
I remember it was such a big thing. People would be like, oh, now I think he's getting married. What? And I'm like, I don't know this person. But then everyone is telling you, now we're going to contribute 1, 2, 3. Everyone bring X amount.
Now we are going.
So confused. And I'm like, okay, is it?
I tell you, there's a wedding or two every month.
And so there's a whole so-and-so didn't invite me. And you're like,
I don't know. I would get confused. I'm like, do I even expect it? I don't. We're not friends.
There are times that I'll contribute. For me, these days I contribute. In sickness, in weddings, I'll contribute. But I will gauge on my showing up. do we have actually a personal relationship
'Cause why am I
outside
in your
work? It's
pics?
not even if, yes, even outside work, we have like, even at work, like, I feel like there's something I've learned to have now, like, that's as if there's a cordialness I can have with Fiona that I won't have with, like, say, Claire. So when we have that cordialness of, hey, I respect someone, so she respects me, we don't have a difficult working relationship. So I'll contribute, but I'll wait for you to extend an invitation. If you don't, I'm actually okay. On Monday, I'll just be like, how was the wedding? How did it go? Are you happy? How are the first days? What? And we continue that being cordial and just move on. I'll not feel bad that you didn't invite me. But there's beef happening in offices over weddings.
This
I thought
one
we are going
didn't
for wedding
invite me.
season.
And then the other one didn't invite me.
Yes.
And then that one only contributed 100,000. The
Yeah.
other one,
Yeah, people
he's a whole manager.
Yes.
And he gave me just 500K.
He's a manager.
You people are managing people's pockets?
I know, 100.
What do you mean? Like,
Then they gave someone so 2.5. Me, they gave me 2 million. Why?
like as if it's part of your contract that you'll be given 2.5
I'm
by your
genuinely
manager.
glad I do not work for big organizations because
You just
you
being
guys are
shocked.
die. How? Do you see me in a big
Until
organization?
we are going to wedding season, a lot of work relationships are not going to survive because this episode is
Yeah.
airing when like November, December.
Yeah, around
weddings,
November.
Because
that's
every
wedding
time I
season.
imagine being in someone's I open welding
Pictures
album.
that you don't even remember who I am.
Do you remember how I met your mother when
pictures
they were
seriously.
telling Ted, name that bitch, name this bitch, name that bitch. Like, you that bitch, just there in photos. You don't have anyone sit with. You just
People are seeing you, kumbe, they don't even remember who you are or
Yeah.
your name.
I take-
Now, for me, I have
take
a
wedding
boundary
pictures
around
seriously.
even wedding contributions. Yeah, I don't contribute. These things of sending me. Did anyone see a budget? Sending me a budget and you tell me your whole budget is 150 million. You make
Decor.
2 million. What is wrong with you?
Decor, 50 million.
And you want, so of 150 million, what percentage would you like me to contribute? So if I give you my 100K, how's it going to help you?
the good thing you practice what you preach.
I do.
Claire's
I
wedding,
do.
they paid for what they had. What they had is what they paid.
I didn't even have flowers because it was such a waste of money.
Yeah.
You may, and then my wedding was small. My flowers were going to cost me 500K.
Yeah.
I looked at the 500. I had it, by the way. I looked at the 500K and I'm like, but this is an extra day on honeymoon. I didn't have the only flowers. You guys were there.
Yeah.
The only flowers at my wedding were my bouquet.
Yeah.
You get. So for me, the fact that you are my employee and your wedding is 150 million. What do you mean?
I'm the employer. I
Me
had
the
no leaves.
employer.
I only
My
had
wedding
mango
was
leaves.
7 million shillings.
I had mango leaves.
I did my
You
own
get
hair.
it.
You claim and did her own hair.
I did my own hair. The
Fair
only thing I paid
practices.
for was my wedding.
And
My
her
wedding
sister-
dress was
Her sister
400,000.
baked her cake.
My sister baked my cake. I literally paid for food and alcohol. That I was planning on driving my own car.
But do you know what I liked about your wedding? I remember how, like, I was telling myself, oh, I will have to look. It was COVID. I'm like, oh my God, I have to look for like 250K and give it to her. Like, oh my God, this one is not like an outsider. She's a close friend. I have to give her like 250K. I'll never forget how Claire just sent a card of, guys, you're invited and kindly contribute this towards this
Your
and
food.
that, towards your food and drink. And it's okay if you're not able to contribute this. What you get? I remember saying,
And those people
and you
who
were,
said-
you were actually, was it 100K?
It was 100,000.
100K.
100K.
And I was like, Chokame was here worrying.
About
Meanwhile, it was COVID, and
250K.
in COVID, I was dead as broke.
Yeah.
I remember when you sent that message, Nariku Express, I remember feeling so relieved, like, oh my God, me I was here worrying, looking for 250K because I'm
Yeah.
just like, if I give her 100, what will she say?
Yeah.
It's such little money. Then I think Claire is just like, kindly contribute to. And I was so relieved.
And you know, there are people who said, I honestly can't. And those ones, the ones who had to be on the list, we paid for them.
Yeah, those
the
who
ones
said
who
they
said,
can't-
because I knew all my friends were going to contribute, but I didn't want to stress them about 500K,
Yeah,
like 200K and
yeah.
whatnot. I said, I do not need all I need, if you want to contribute, 100K towards your food. That's it.
Yeah, food and
You
yeah,
get,
drink.
I'm not going to give you a list. So by the fact that I did that, and for you, you're coming to me with 150 million. You get, like, what do you mean? Anyway,
By the way,
so it was...
speaking of weddings, have you seen people who join a workspace and in a space of like 2-3 years, everyone, they have like a wedding and everyone at their wedding is their workmate? Most of them always finding that suspicious, like, are you saying you didn't have friends before in your before life?
I know what you mean.
Are you saying that, like, where are your friends? Like, you know, the people who are getting out on the Kwanjula that are dancing, are your workmates?
workmates?
The people who, and I'm like, where are your Jemfu days? Where is everyone
friends.
else that
Jemfu
knew
days.
you?
Yeah.
I was like, Because me, first of all, I'm wary of the work relationships. I'm like, is this going to last? Will these people be in your life long enough for you to show your children the album and say, the auntie who came on Saturday,
that is this
her.
one, yes.
She's the one who came. So, Banange, as we are going for wedding season, is your entire entourage made up of workmates? There's a way I feel about that thing.
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
you. Looks like we need a wedding episode.
We need a wedding
Actually, that clip also
episode.
went like super.
Yeah, the wedding one, the
Yeah,
one of
I
wedding
said-
decor.
Clearly, there is a wedding situation that we need to discuss in
Yeah,
Uganda.
no, it's
like,
getting
Noted it.
ridiculous.
I've
Us
noted
and
it.
weddings,
It's going to be in the
getting
next shoot day.
ridiculous.
weddings has to be like a whole topic of its own because
let
we have
me-
a very interesting wedding culture in this
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
Like, it's not just the money or whatever, even the way we relate, friends.
We
it's
don't
actually
even have,
wild.
we've adopted.
Something I think
Which
we
is,
had.
we didn't have it
But
10
then
years ago.
I don't know, we changed a lot of things. We exaggerated a
Yeah,
number of them.
yeah.
I'm still like, to date, it still shocks me that our Kuchala is like a first visit. Kugambo Jenny, depending on your culture, that first visit used to be just a visit.
Yeah.
It was literally what, 2 to 3 people, 4
Literally,
maybe,
you go
max.
to your singer's house, now it's an entire wedding.
Now we have a backdrop.
Music, you have
Makeup,
tents, you have
guys are
deco for
dancing.
50 million.
I think you guys are jealous that Saturday wasn't your wedding. Saturday
That's
was
why,
neither's wedding.
that's why.
Depends on who you ask, I guess. POV. That can also be
never
your.
me.
But
Me,
honestly,
on a kuchala, I go my sister, my brother, my husband. We go
And
5
I forget
people.
how you told us, Zerida's Kuchala was last weekend. We're like,
Yeah, we went to my senga's house, just the 5 of us only, just us and my siblings, his best man. That's it. We took things. My husband bought, even Zerida's husband also bought when we went, and that's it. We sat for lunch, nice matoke, you know that
yellow one.
that one, Eribo Day. We sat 1 hour. We were out of there. They stocked their leg, a balua. They give the balua. It wasn't even informal.
it's
It
just
was very informal.
Yeah.
And we went home. Do you know how much we spent? Over 150,000.
Man, the wedding process for me, the wedding planning thing is tedious, you people.
You
Is it
guys,
is?
we need
For me,
another
my biggest fear
episode.
is going downtown to look for clothes.
we need another episode. We're going to stop there because we're going to get into wedding. So this episode is another thing. So on that note, stay hydrated. Sorry. You know, we've even talked today. We've not even, like, you know, those episodes where you talk, no water has been drunk.
Yeah.
What is
Claire
the
and I are
purpose?
almost empty.
We are almost done. You're the only one.
Claire and I are almost
And yet
Try
we've talked
being-
the most.
Try being a moderator. Like you be trying to be attentive to what everybody
Yeah.
is
Oh,
saying.
yeah, 'cause you're
I don't know, the water
moderator.
feels like it's far away, but don't be like me. Drink your water and stay hydrated. And we will see you guys next time, but also subscribe. Bye.
Subscribe. Bye.